Hi friends, welcome. In continuation with the LBSNAA series, where in the first video we had talked about the Himalayan trek, we will be discussing about a couple of interesting and very important aspects of the training, especially the IAS training, which is the physical training, or PT as it is called, and horse riding. So
So, to begin with, I would like to first ask questions. I would like to know about the physical training which officer training undergoes. So basically, this physical training it reminds us of our school days when we used to stand for 30-40 minutes, do long stretching under the sun. But then it was there in our academics, to supplement our academics. So what importance has it to do? It has got to do with the life of an officer trainee.
yeah, so that's a very important and interesting question. In fact, the same question is in everybody's mind when they go to the academy and they are told that you'll have PT every day in the morning, 5 o'clock in fact during summers, 5:30 during winters. During when I underwent training and when the director of the academy, Mr. Israel, also underwent training, there used to be a physical training in charge by name Rana. He was the most popular, or the most dreaded person in the academy because at 5 o'clock in the morning you will find his long whistle. And in fact, the funny thing is many trainees used to wear their entire sports wear, even including socks, because it is very comfortable in Missouri's cold to even wear the socks and then get up in the morning, just wear the shoe and come for the PT. That was the kind of thing that used to happen. People used to wonder why is it required and all that. But there are 2-3 important things why it is required. In fact, one other joking thing that people say is, it is Department of Personnel and Training, DOPT, which is the cadre controlling authority for IAS officers. And we used to say this DOPT is only fit to make you do PT. That is the the joke that was going the rounds. But there are 2-3 important things which we need to realize, that when you feel physically fit, when your body is fit, your mind is that much more fitter. And the purpose why physical training is inculcated to all officer trainees is because if you have the practice of being physically fit, doing exercises, doing cross-country runs and various other things, it will reflect on your mental strength. And you can see it for yourself. You will find that many people during their middle age, they start jogging, they start running, they start going to the gym. 10-15 years later, any officer you go and ask them, what is your opinion on PT? They will say, when we were in the academy, we did not like it at all because Missouri, cold weather, under the rucksack, you're happily sleeping at 5 o'clock in the morning and then suddenly you're supposed to get up and go to the PT. It's the most dreaded thing that you can think of as a trainee. But later, 10-15 years later, they will say that, that habit, I'm still again trying to regenerate. I'm trying to again start that habit so that I can keep myself fit, and that physical fitness will reflect in your mental fitness.
And how was your experience with this physical training?
Exactly. So, you used to be very happy the first day when it rained, and we thought once it rains there is no PT, but that's not the case. The PT used to happen inside the badminton court, and there used to be cross country runs, which is 6 kilometers, 9 kilometers on some days. So it was like any other person. So in fact, I remember I had skipped only one training session in the entire 3 months of my training. And unfortunately, only on that day there was a notice given to all the people who skipped, and I had to go and give an answer why I did not come to the PT. But the fact is, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it that much then, but I realize the importance of it now. And I would urge all the aspiring civil servants, once they get into the service, to start enjoying it right from day one, because it will give you that feeling of well-being, feeling of freshness. Early in the morning you get up, you do some physical activity, either a jog or a walk, or do some exercises, and then as a civil servant it helps you to face the day's work with that much more vigor, with that much more energy. And that is what is inculcated in the Missouri campus itself. And so there are very funny incidents which happen, right? People don't do the stretches properly, and then Mr. Rana, he can see even 20 rows behind, and he will come there and make you do that. There are people who try to, dodge some exercises, but ultimately it's a very pleasurable experience. Early in the morning in the hills to do exercise is a very pleasant feeling. Over a period of time, you start enjoying it.
Okay, so what we can see is that this has a long-term benefit.
Absolutely, and that is the purpose why it is inculcated. So the government of India is not foolish to make officer trainees get up in the morning and do physical training. The purpose why the government of India has it as part of its curriculum is because that physical fitness will translate to your mental well-being, will help you take the responsibilities with that much more vigor.
Getting, sir. So, sir, we'll go to the next point of the question. That's the horse riding. So, if we think of the horse riding, it's something which is, horses are regarded as the primitive automobiles, and the kings which used to own a significant number of horses, they used to be the mighty kings, and it has its significance in warfares. And so, as an officer trainee has to go through the horse riding in his or her training period, what has it to do with? In a technologically enabled world, what has the horses to do? Yeah.
So now, for this, you'll have to first go slightly back to history. Right? Before Indian Administrative Service, after independence, it was called the Indian Civil Service. Right? During the British period, it started somewhere during the 1850s after the Macaulay resolution and all that, and there were exams which were conducted. That time, horses was the only vehicle, as you said, through which the collectors can go to the interiors of the district. And so horse riding was made a compulsory part of training. In fact, people, if they don't qualify in horse riding, they do not qualify as ICS officers. That was the importance of horse riding. And in fact, there are some sayings which say, if you want to know how well the collector has performed his duty, go and see how much his seat has eroded in the horse. Which means he is a person who has travelled extensively in his horse. That is the importance of horse riding in the Indian civil service days. But of course, after independence, no one rides horses, right? So we have our vehicles, we have our ambassadors, and now we have our latest vehicles with which we go to various places. But then why is horse riding required, right? So it's not that people didn't think of it. There were people who complained that, this horse riding is a colonial relic. Why should you have this horse riding? It is no longer required in the modern day. And there is an anecdote, it may not be a reality, but I've heard it from many sources, that there was a file which was put up to Mrs. Indira Gandhi when she was the Prime Minister of the country. And Mrs. Indira Gandhi was a passionate horse rider herself. It was put up saying that horse riding is a colonial relic, it came from the British time, it is no longer required in modern training, so horse riding may be discontinued. And it is believed that she wrote on the file that if a man can control a horse, he can control a mob. And so it is for bringing that element of valor. It was for bringing that element of confidence and that ability to hold a horse and able to ride it. It is to bring that sense of strength and bravery in your mind that you are taught horse riding. In fact, it's very interesting. There are three, you first just sit on the horse, and I remember for the first time when I tried to get on top of a horse, the trainer there told me, just ensure that you hold it tight. Okay. Because a horse is a very intelligent animal. If the first time it throws you off, then it will never you to climb it again. So the first time when you climb on the horse, he says, hold it tight. Okay. So I was so scared, but I just gripped everything, and the horse will try to throw you out. Okay. You will have to hold it tight and sit there, because only then it will realize that, okay, you are not afraid of it and you will be able to sit on it.
But then horse riding is something which involves physical involvement. So why is it why should IAS officer
No, exactly.
undergo?
That is the precise point that I was trying to make, that it is not for the purpose of really learning how to ride a horse. But the qualities that you get, the confidence that you get on riding a horse on your own, those qualities, the quality of confidence, the quality of bravery, the quality of not being afraid of something, and you may be thinking that what is this guy joking? You first go and start learning horse riding, you will realize how scared you are the first time you climb a horse. you will feel you're almost going to be trampled by the horse and you're going to die.
So how about your experience?
Exactly. So first time when you get on top of a horse, it's a very, it's as good as getting the question paper in the mains exam, right? So that is the kind of feeling that you get when you get on top of the horse. But the instruction is that don't fall down, because that's the end of the story. Then they have to find another horse for you. So you need to ensure that you are holding it tight. And there are two stages of horse riding. The first is called a trot, the other is called a canter. The trot is when you just trot. The horse is supposed to trot. We walk, human beings walk, the horses trot. And you are supposed to rise along with the shoulder of the horse and sit along with it in the trot. And it's a very difficult thing to practice first, because you're supposed to grip the mane of the horse with, the side of the mane of the horse with your thighs. And rise along with the horse when it trots, when it goes up, and sit along with it. And first few days, you will feel, when I am going to get this, it's just impossible. You will not time it properly. Your back will get bruised badly because of that. There is a special gear that you buy for it. You buy a helmet, you buy a long, shoes, and there are protective gear around your shin which you are supposed to wear. All those things you go and buy it from the mall road in Mussoorie and come back, and you feel all that is a waste of time. And horse riding, as I was telling you, during PT, if it rains, there is PT inside the badminton court, but if it rains, there is no horse riding, because the horses have to go only in that course which is there. And first few days, whenever you have a horse riding period and it rains, that's like, the happiness that you get when clearing the exam, you get it again. You're again putting your rucksack and sleeping happily. But once you learn how to trot, I'm telling you, it's one of the most enjoyable things to do. Then you actually eagerly look forward. Within 2 months, when you learn how to trot, after that, when there's a horse riding class and it rains, you feel so bad, right? And of course, canter, I never got the courage to canter. Canter is when the horse runs very fast. You're supposed to hold it and do it, just sit on the horse and it will canter. But I never had the courage to go up to canter. But trot, there are weekly, horse riding sessions which happen with the faculty, with the trainers. You go on small treks along with the horse. There's a place called Lal Tibba. There's a place called, another peak, Nag Tibba in Mussoorie. So all these places were not very tall peaks, and there is a horse course for reaching the top. So you go in the morning, you take the horses on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, trek along those routes, break for breakfast. You carry your breakfast along with you. You sit and eat. You climb a mountain sitting on top of the horse. Imagine if you're climbing a mountain, small mountain hill or a peak, sitting on top of the horse, and if you're able to control it, then that confidence and courage that you get, you will be able to display it when you see a mob in front of you. And that is the purpose why horse riding, despite it not being put to practical use now, it may not have any utility in your day-to-day work, but the attitude that you get out of doing this, the courage that you get out of doing this is what matters. And and most of the horses, they are also, they have been there for many years. And in fact, for the IAS phase 1, you are supposed to pass the horse riding test, where you are supposed to go one full round of the course sitting on the horse. And we jokingly say, you don't have to worry, the horses will make you pass. So once you sit on top of it, they will ensure that you go through the round and leave you there. But I think that 4-5 months of horse riding experience is something which I cherish personally. Every officer trainee who has been to Mussoorie will definitely cherish. And it is the attitude and the qualities that you get out of it, which is what is important from that exercise.
Thank you so much, sir. I think this video will be really inspiring students and aspirants like us.
Welcome. Thank you, friends.